Hi, this is Cara Williams with South Shore Sotheby's International Realty, and today I have a special guest with me, Stacy Jordan with Homebridge Financial. Hi Stacy, how are you?
Hi Cara, how are you?
Good. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the business?
Sure. So I got into mortgage lending when I was 25. At that time, I was in the middle of purchasing a flip property. I had bought my first home when I was 23. And also at that time, I was pregnant with my first child. And the mortgage gentleman who was helping me with financing just sort of suggested I get in the mortgage business. And after I had the baby, I quit my salary job at State Street. And I stumbled into the mortgage business thinking this might be a nice flexible career to start a family, acquire real estate, and an introduction to the market.
You had a finance background.
I did. I had more of an education background, but I was working in finance at the time. To me, it just represented flexibility. As he explained, I could work from home, I could dictate my own schedule, and I had a lot of flexibility with that. So that was really why I got in the mortgage business.
If you were thinking about purchasing a home, whether it's next month or in a year, what are some of the things to help prepare you to set yourself up for success?
A lot of what we do in the office, or what we preach, is to pre-plan. So we always say if you're looking to purchase a home, as you said, in the next month or in the next year, either way, it's the best way to approach that process is to sit down with us, schedule a phone call, start the application process, start the pre-approval process. We all have heard the term pre-approval. That can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But what it means to me is, we have casual conversation. I get to understand that person's story, what their goals are, what they're looking to accomplish. And then I start to get a better understanding of, what does work look like? What does employment look like? What does the credit profile look like? And from there, we can break out all sorts of different financing options. Be mindful of the timeline. Some folks are calling Friday before they're looking at homes and making offers. That's a different experience. We're going to fast track and get a pre-approval done within an hour. So we welcome those calls. We do. We're available. We can turn around a pre-approval in less than an hour. If you have the ability to plan a little bit, that's ideal. I would say I tell people a year ahead of time is not absurd. There's a lot we can accomplish in a year or even a month. We have the ability to counsel people with credit and simulate FICO score and come up with a plan on how to increase credit scores. That will greatly impact someone's options, rates, and terms and cost. We can talk a lot about employment, income, how do you get paid. We can project what that looks like if you're self-employed and we're coming upon a new tax year. We have the ability to really sit down and pre-plan with even the CPA sometimes and figure out what should your tax return look like if you want to qualify for a home for $600,000. What kind of income do you need to report? There's so much strategic conversation we can have if we have a little bit of time. So that's why it's not absurd to start planning a year ahead of time. It really isn't. And then at that point, we establish a foundation and a working relationship. And so I serve as a resource over the next year or whatever that time frame looks like. So that if you're thinking about changing jobs, if there's a change in credit, if you need to buy a new car, I get texts and emails all the time. Stacy, I'm thinking about turning my lease in. Stacy, I'm thinking about taking this new job. How will that affect my pre-approval? So, pre-planning not only allows us to secure financing, make sure that you know what to expect, educate you along the way, talk about budgeting, talking about closing costs, how to prepare, but also we really can, set you up for success.
And why is it important in this market or in any market to work with a local lender?
So I have been in mortgage lending for 22 years now. And oftentimes what I hear back is, Stacy, my buyer's offer got accepted because it was one of your pre-approval letters. And when we issue a pre-approval letter, there's a lot more behind that. And I think what we've established in the community is we have a reputation of being able to close the loan, close it on time, deliver really good competitive interest rates and cost, and develop that relationship with the buyer, that client. More importantly, on the selling side, the seller wants to know the buyer's financing is secure. We hear oftentimes that if you're working with someone local that lives and works in the community, working with a local mortgage company or local lender is critical, especially in this market. I think it's critical in any market, but when you're in a very competitive market with multiple offers, it becomes even that more important. And we hear that feedback often.
What I like about your services is you take the time to call the listing agent before an accepted offer is on the table.
Yes. Yeah, oftentimes we are asked to reach out to the listing agent and just sort of speak on behalf of the security of that buyer's financing. When we do a pre-approval, we do, collect documentation. We ask very detailed questions to ensure the quality of our pre-approvals will translate to closing, but we're able to convey that to the selling side and give them that level of confidence that they want and need, and they're seeking to know that this financing is secure. This isn't just a letter. There is something behind it, and these buyers are solid and will get to the table.
Where do you see this market going?
That's a good question. It's a tough question. I think there's some variables that leave us all a little bit scratching our heads, but we all know the lack of inventory has pushed housing prices up, and that's creating a problem for buyers. But buyers are also a little fatigued right now, and what I'm hearing, and I'm not the realtor, but what I'm hearing is that there is starting to be some leveling off of price.
Right.
I don't know if you're starting to see that. I think that we need another month or two. And also, we need to see what's going to happen with COVID and unemployment. That unemployment is a huge driving factor in terms of what mortgage rates do. Mortgage rates are still sub 3, low 3% range for your typical mortgage. So, they'll bounce around here and there, but they're still unbelievably low. So that's a tough question to answer right now.
What are some of the driving factors that move interest rates around?
Rates come out every single day. We watch and see how the market traded the night before, and we watch the trading that takes place the first few hours of the day. My capital markets division prices out around 11. We usually get mortgage rates around 10:30 and 11, and that's when I can accurately quote rates for that day. Mortgage rates can change throughout the day. I've seen them change 2, 3, 4 times a day if it's a very volatile day. It's interesting, it's fun. I love that aspect of the job. We have some really great technology that I subscribe to that gives me some really minute by minute understanding, so that allows me to guide my clients. So we have those conversations. Ultimately, it's the client's decision to lock their rate.
Any final thoughts before we wrap up this interview?
Well, I think that the message I'd like to leave everybody with is that if you're looking to get into the market right now or in the next year, some of the most important things you can do is pre-plan, as we discussed. The more time, the better. Work with someone local. Work with someone local in real estate. Work with a local lender. Experience is critical. Make sure you work with someone that has experience. And work with a team. I think a team of professionals that can structure your offer, show you homes, set you up for success, whether it's this competitive market or any market, really. I think having a real estate team and a local lender will help set you up for success with the entire home buying process.
Thank you so much for your time, Stacy.
Thank you.
As always, I am here for your buying and selling needs. This is Cara Williams with Susher Sotheby's International Realty. See you next time.